Hey, what's up, Liron here. Thank you for joining me in today's video. Today I want to talk about motivation and how most of your work is going to be average. Yes, you heard me correctly. So I want to share a couple of my recent paintings with you. Some you've seen, some you may have not seen, and talk a bit about that aspect of motivation while you're not necessarily seeing results, because it's something I get a lot of messages about, preserving motivation, how to practice day after day after day and still feeling motivated to do it. So I'm gonna just say something and set it aside. I talked about it recently. I don't rely on motivation. I don't rely on muse, on inspiration, none of that. I rely on a habit to sit down and paint as much as I can. I don't paint every day, but I think every second day pretty much. I don't paint as many hours as I'd like to, but I do get at least that 1 or 2 hours in the days I do paint. And how do you preserve that ability to do it day after day? To me, is not about motivation, it's not about muse, it's about the habit you build. Now let me show you a couple of paintings. So here's one I did, and to be honest, I did some of these very quickly. I just wanted to paint something. So for example, this seascape, a big mess, not what I planned for it to be, not as accurate, and as much as I tried, I couldn't get it to look as I wanted to. So to me, this painting is average. Now that doesn't mean this painting isn't an entire world in and of itself. It's full of interest. It is unique. It is my own work. It is, sorry, I wanted to check if the light's on there. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the painting and you can't appreciate it, all of the above. That's all true. With that, I'm aware that in terms of my vision versus the result, this to me is an average work, okay? I didn't get the technique the way I wanted to. I didn't get the impression the way I wanted to, etc., etc. That doesn't mean I don't like it or love it even, but this is the kind of painting I'll do when I'm just practicing kind of fast. I'm not necessarily focused enough, or I'm not necessarily in the mood enough, okay? Now let me show you another two. So this was, I wasn't in the mood, so I did some scribbles. That'll often happen. Then we move on to another one. This is a scene from Georgia. So a couple of buildings, and I didn't get it the way I wanted it to be too. Now it may have something to do with the paper, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse, because I produced on that very same paper a couple of excellent paintings. So it's more about the plan, the vision, the mood, whatever it is. But I didn't get this scene to look the way I wanted it to. Not enough clarity of the idea, not enough clarity in the temperatures, the colors, the composition, everything. It's not clear enough. It's not what I planned for it to be. But I did sit down and paint it. Okay, let's see if I have another one here. I believe not, but let me show you another one. Different type of paper, and you may say it's unfinished. It's the same scene, only it's portrait rather than landscape. And again, I didn't get it to look the way I wanted it to. It's not clear enough. It's not what I, that's the, and think about it this way. I painted some of these consecutively. So I'm like, another one, a failure. Like at the moment, I felt like another failure. But it's just more like an average type of work. Let me show you another one that you have seen, which is the candles that I showed you the first attempt. That was kind of a failure to me, in my opinion. By the way, there's this weird glare. It's something new. I don't know why it started occurring, so my apologies about that. I noticed it like about 2 or 3 weeks ago for the first time. But yeah, this, I completely lost the plot at some point and I just quit. But then I did this one, which improved upon it. And still there are a lot of things there where I feel like it's not what I wanted it to be. It's not where I wanted it to be compared to my vision, because I had this great vision in mind of how I'm going to express the scene and so on. So all of these examples are for what I would call an average painting. But then if you just continue doing it, you will get a few, and you have seen probably these two. And you know, cars bring out the best of me. You will get some kind of a grace coming from above and helping you create something you do love. So I'll show you the tractor first. And so this one, if I'm not mistaken, I did it the same day of this one, though I'm not sure. I think it was the same day. And it's just so random. You cannot control it fully. You just have to sit, and that's the thing, that's the key here, because it's so random. You don't know what result you'll get. Some elements are in your control, others are not. Because of that, there's no use being too caught up in motivation, muse, all of that. All you have to do is sit down and paint. And the more you sit down and paint, the higher the chances are you're going to produce this kind of a standout piece that really looks good to you. And for me, that's the kind of a thing this one is. It's the kind of a thing. This one is for sure. These two are standouts. Showed this one to my friend. He was like, "That looks like a Russian car." And I'm like, "It is a Russian car." I painted it based on a photo, both of these, on the photos I took in Georgia. Plenty of Russian cars there. Someone else also identified the exact model in the comments, so I'm happy with it. So the point is, you won't know what is gonna come out of the painting process, and I don't want you to take it in the direction of, okay, I have no control, there's no use. No. You have some control over some elements, but the one element you have the most control over is how much you practice. And if you just do this every day, regardless of motivation, regardless of muse, regardless of everything, while recognizing most of your paintings are gonna be average, and that's perfectly fine, you will reach those standout pieces that really look good. And they don't have to be small. In my case, it was two paintings that are relatively small. Here's the other one again. They don't have to be small pieces. They can be large pieces too, depending on what you're working on. But you have to recognize the fact that most of your work is going to be quote-unquote average, because that's just how it works. You're kind of oscillating between that sweet spot where you do get everything the way you wanted to. You get the values in the right place, the temperature is on point, everything looks good, and then you're off here, you're off there, and that's just the reality of painting. So I wanted to throw it out there and kind of give you motivation. Here's another one I did yesterday of a Pokemon, Liron, one of my favorites from the first generations, and I actually got this one to look perfect, just like I wanted it to. But again, to get to these paintings, you have to sit down and paint, and that's the only factor you have complete control over. The other ones, even preparation, even having all your tools and materials, things just happen. You don't know what will happen during the process. Maybe you'll get an important phone call. You have to leave it. Maybe your brush was a little cranky that day and you didn't get it to look at the shape you wanted it to. A lot of things can happen. The one thing you have control over is how much you sit down and paint every day, how many days a week, and then understand that most of these works are going to be average, and that is perfectly fine, and learn to love these. Because if you can just find one thing about an average piece of work that you still love, for example, this one, which I think is a little above average. I love this gradual transition from dark to light. I love it. I think I got it really well. If I look at something like this one, I love how I got these shadows casting from that dome up top. This area, not so much, but this area I love. Every one of these paintings, if I'm gonna pull out, I'll find something that I love. I absolutely love how this yellow looks against the sky. The previous one as well. I can find stuff I love in each and every painting I do, and people do sometimes say you're overly critical. I love the highlights on the sea here. I love that. Yes, the overall thing doesn't work as well as I planned it to be, but I love it. And yes, people do criticize me sometimes for being a little too harsh on my paintings. It's not from a place of harshness, it's from the place of I want to learn and improve. And a lot of you do notice that. A lot of people say that they love that I can see the things I want to improve, but I don't get too caught up in it and I don't get frustrated by it. And that's what I want to transfer onto you in this video. So I really hope you enjoyed this one. I want to thank you for watching. Please, please, please like the video, subscribe if you still aren't. It really helps me reach more people, find more people. Like the video, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts, what else you want me to talk about. Trying to reply as many comments and messages as I can. There's a lot, but I'm doing my best to keep up as much as I can, and sometimes I filter the comments based on questions. So if you ask a question, there's a higher likelihood that I will answer it, because I can just kind of answer real fast, okay? Thank you so much once again. I will see you in the next vid.